Wacha tuongee mambo sasa ya fake certificates. Virtual assets are real, certificates can be fake.
Imagine. So. According to the Public Service Commission, in an audit conducted across 331 government institutions, more than 2,000 Kenyans used fake academic and professional documents to get jobs in different ministries and parastatals. 331 institutions sampled, more than 2,000 had fake academic and professional documents to get jobs. How is that? What leads to that? And so on and so forth. We want to have that conversation with the Public Service Commission. This is the employer of all public servants in the country, and the Commissioner, Francis Meja, is our guest. Good morning, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to start off into this conversation with the day's quote. Normally, Janet Bogwa, who sits where Mariam is seated today, would give you the quote, and then let's hear whether that could make sense to you.
Okay.
So she left that job with Mariam.
That's right. And the quote today is actually one that I think you will like. You can tell me what it speaks to you. It is by a lady who goes by the name Zainab, let me get it right, Salbi. Zainab Salbi. She said, "You cannot pour from an empty cup, but you can refill it with purpose." You cannot pour from an empty cup, but you can refill it with purpose. She was speaking at the Women for Women International Global Conference in 2019 in London. And she was talking about basically burnout amongst activists and the need to rebuild energy or whenever you feel depleted. Yeah. What does that quote say to you?
I think it tells you can only give what you have. That's my basic understanding of that.
I like that. You can only give what you have, not more.
Not more.
Yeah. I quite like that take. Yeah, she was also talking about meaning, not martyrdom. And the martyrdom is giving what you don't have. Yeah, it's sacrificing everything for a cause or, yeah. I like that. You can only give what you have.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, there have been conversations around certificates. Original, genuine, fake, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
You unaweza chukua na 500, unataka gani?
But you're first class, please.
Unataka gani? A conference that was held with the ASCC and the Public Service Commission and other entities earlier this year had a report, and a report by the Kenya National Qualifications Authority found that almost 30% of civil servants may have secured their current jobs using forged academic documents. During this event, there is a verification exercise carried out in public entities. Out of the 53,000 certificates verified across 91 public institutions, approximately 1,280 were flagged out as fake. ESCC has since 2022 received and taken up investigations on 549 reports of forgery of academic certificates and other professional qualifications. Out of these, 134 investigation files have been completed and 85 forwarded to the DPP for prosecution. And then they've gone ahead into recovery of money, of salaries of those people who had gotten these jobs, from using fake papers. One of the things that they also write here is driving factors for academic and professional qualifications. For a long time, there's been over-reliance on formal qualifications and paper certifications, which provides a huge incentive for fake or forged papers. There's institutional weakness and so on in verifying the authenticity of a paper. But I want to start from there. 30% of people who have applied and secured for jobs in the public service could have presented fake papers. What does fake mean, Commissioner?
Well, thank you very much, and I'm happy to be engaged in this conversation. We are a new commission that started. We were sworn in office early this year. And one of the things that we've been hearing, and when even I was outside there, is the issue of fake certificates. Well, I don't know where Eric is getting the 30%, but in 2022, October, to be specific, the Public Service Commission initiated a process for verification of all academic certificates across the entire government. The ones which were verified by the Kenya National Examination Council, which is up to the fourth form, were about 53,599. Out of that, 1,280 were found to be fake, which represent about 2.5%. Then the ones who are from tertiary institutions, universities and colleges, The ones which were verified were around 29,000, out of which about 787 were found to be fake, which is about 2.7%. So if you look at the average, both institutions is about 2.5%.
Yeah, it's a small percentage.
But it's not small, because that it should not be there in the first instance.
Yeah.
So it is not small. What is the problem? As you rightfully said, there have been an over-reliance of academic certificates to procure job positions. And because there is a serious unemployment in this country, people are tempted then to use shortcuts to obtain or to get access to jobs. But what is encouraging this is, I think, it's a systemic problem where it is not very easy to verify some of these certificates. And I think that's where, because when you know you can survive at least for a number of years in service with fake certificates, then people are encouraged to do that. And I think that is what we want to address now, and we are coming up with a solution to that problem, Eric.
When you say fake certificate, what exactly do we mean? Do we mean that this person did not go to school at all, and then they've come up with a paper claiming that they went to school? Or that they went to school but they did not complete that course, and they come with a certificate claiming they've completed? Or they completed the course but they failed the exam, and so they did not graduate, but they come to claim that they graduated. Which is which?
Well, it is a combination. It is a combination of factors. There are those who outrightly did not go to any school and they have a certificate. But that is happening at the university level. For KCSE, majority of the cases are people who are tampering with the grades.
Okay.
Instead of a mean grade of A or B, but majority of the people are those who are upgrading that grade. We have not come across a case where you are disadvantaging yourself. Majority of all the cases actually is you try to enhance the grade that you had. And this is just done to ensure that you meet the minimum qualification for the job that is being advertised. At the university, we have students who go through universities, and before they graduate, they drop out of the way. And somehow, after their period, even without the knowledge of their parents, they look for ways and obtain a certificate. And even some of them even organize graduation ceremonies with the gowns and take photos. And take photos as evidence.
A full production, eh?
That they did graduate. But in actual sense, the certificate is not genuine. So there are cases like that, and people whose name, I think they change their names. They get fake certificates of somebody who did better than themselves, and some of these people are finding themselves in service and are finding themselves employed using documents that are not genuine. I'm
Francis Meja with a double J.
Yes.
There's a Francis Meja with one J.
Yes.
And then
there are instances.
Or major.
Yeah. Okay. Looking at the various ways you've said, so fake is not necessarily fake. It is alteration. It's They are also fake that institutions deny ever issuing those documents. So they go to, I don't know where nowadays they go, and then you obtain a certificate that is not recognized, is not known, is not issued by the institution that you are in. That one is fake. Now, this prevalence, about 2.5% across basic education and higher education as well. 2.5% is quite a large number.
It is.
I want to, before I even get into what could be causing this to happen, and you said again, we like academic qualifications. There's something called the Kenya National Qualifications Authority.
Yes.
That is also verifying some of this data. What do they say is the cause for this? And has it informed any of their decision making, as far as you know, when they talk about, now we're doing prior recognition of prior learning, things like that, so that people don't feel the need to fake academic qualifications when they have been on the job? Is that part of the fix for this?
Well, I think this way, you see, traditionally, when you are looking for employment, the first thing is that
where your certificates?
Is the certificates. These are the minimum requirements. So without that, you have no chance. But I think in the recent past, if you look at artisans as an example, who have practiced that trade for a long time, and they have gained a lot of experience, Qualification Authority now is certifying them that they actually are capable and they can perform that work. But traditionally in the past, what has been happening is everything is by academic certificates.
Right.
So I think we start needs to recognize that life does not begin and end with the certificates that you hold. And I would encourage, even where you want to pursue a certain course, and possibly you have not met the minimum requirement, or you are looking for a job and you don't meet that requirement, instead of going for falsified documents, you can do a repeat, a receipt, and push it through. But to have shortcuts where you want to qualify for a job that literally you don't qualify for, I think it is very, very unfair. And the parents are equally to blame on this. There are parents whom we know who have also facilitated their children, and it's quite unfortunate. And within no time, then it is discovered that this person performance as compared to the documents that are presented,
they're not matching.
They don't match.
It's a global problem. Sorry, Eric, I know.
Go ahead.
It's a global problem as well, because we've seen even parents in the US, very famous people, get indicted and go to jail for bribing. For buying papers for their children to get them into good universities, for having essays written by someone else, things like that, or even bribing the institutions at some point. But I'm thinking through what the cost of these fake certificates is from a public service delivery perspective. When we say 1,280 from now basic education, is there a way to get more threaded information in what areas of the public service they were serving in? Because it could be, in what cadres, because it could be someone who perhaps was not as qualified but could do the job. But then there's areas of public service that require extreme levels of qualification. So it's very worrisome if people have been faking those qualifications.
I think the first thing is, irrespective of what grade is required, the moment you go and falsify a certificate, actually you are against the ethos of public service.
Yes.
Because that is, your integrity then is in question. Because if you have the guts to manufacture a document, then how can you be trusted with more responsibility? So that is even the biggest problem. But their profession, let's say for instance medicine, if you fake your way, and hopefully by whatever means, then you are treated as a qualified doctor, then you are treating a patient without the competence.
Right. So that's my question.
Is a disaster.
Are there? That's my question.
From your audit.
From your audit. Those, for example, the 2.5% who had fake certificates for higher education, let's begin with that. Were there those serving in, for example, in medicine? Is it nurses? Is it clinical officers? Is it doctors? Because that is part of the public service in a sense.
It cuts across all cadres, right from all professions. But you find the common profession, not the technical subjects, majority of them are falling in that category, because their interest is to gain entry into the public service. Probably they did not have the basic requirements, the minimum grades. But this problem is biggest at the entry level, and it's across board, all professions.
I want to throw in 79,000 spanners into this thing and say that we have a system problem in our society, in what we have over the very many years done to our education system and to the perceptions in society about education. That in society, you fail an exam. And that's issue number one. You fail an exam. And that failing an exam, as we like to sweet talk things around here, the system actually calls you a failure.
It does.
Because there's a minimum entry requirement.
For
and
university.
there's a grade which is not minimum for anything. If you got a D, don't expect that you're going to get into any college at any point in your life. Because they'll always go back into, did you sit your KCSE? Did you sit your O-level exam? What did you get? That cuts you out for the rest of your life. And that's an issue.
It is an issue.
Because somebody sat an exam and they got a C-, and at that point, the entry level for university, for colleges, for all was C and above. And so they were not able to get into C and above. They went and did whatever else they were doing. They found a way. They got into a skill, and here's a job opportunity in public service or in private sector. And they see this is an opportunity that I'd like to get a job.
Right.
I am capable. I can speak English. I can write. This job that is being asked for, I can do the job.
Yeah.
It doesn't require anything more than what I already have. But I cannot enter because when I was sitting my KCSE, something happened
ago.
And I got a C-. That
I agree with you.
Issue.
I agree with you entirely, Eric. And what is causing this? It is the lack of opportunities. And I'll give you statistics. Currently, we are in a process of recruiting. There are some, actually in July, we advertised for about 1,095 positions. The number of people who qualified for these positions were 304,328.
Oh my gosh.
And therefore, it becomes a criteria of knocking out people.
Yeah.
But if there were more opportunities out there, all these people will be absorbed elsewhere. And therefore, that pressure is relieved. But because we have very few limited opportunities, and so many people are qualifying, the only criteria then for using to shortlist or to decide who is going to be there
is academic.
So once and that is why we are here. When we fix the nation and we expand our economy to absorb more people, some of these pressures then start going down. But let us not forget, it should not be ethical, even if it is that competition. The best thing I would recommend, if you're a university student and you find that you have not done well in a certain subject, repeat it. If it is KCSE, there is an opportunity for you to do a resit and improve your grade. But to have a shortcut where you go and tamper with the grades.
This is why I'm having a problem with you, Commissioner.
It's a problem.
Not with you. I'm having a problem with our society in the way we approach things. You know, the way we talk about it here a lot, Mariam. We approach things from a policing issue, that you are a criminal. The thing that you've done is because you have criminal intent. Okay? That, yes, it is wrong, it is fraudulent, it is all. What was going through that person's mind at that point when they were doing it? Think about this, Francis. You have done your KCSE. You have gotten your results slip, but you have fee balances. So the school is withholding your certificate. Here is a job opportunity for you to join the police service, for you to join the prison service, for you to join any. Right? You know you passed. The school is not giving you this. The headmaster, amekaa ngumu na hiyo kitu. Okay? So people start doing these other things. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that this person does not have criminal intent to fake that they are. It's a circumstance that's forcing them to do it. That's why I said we have a problem with our societal systems.
I agree. We have a challenge. But ideally, let us also be reasonable. Institution where a student is not able to pay, and genuinely not able to pay, the society should look for ways to support this person to to access opportunities.
Yes.
And you should not withhold a certificate, especially somebody who has gotten an opportunity. I would even recommend and say the most logical thing then to do, if somebody has secured a job and the certificate is withheld, you can have an agreement with the school that immediately you start receiving a salary, kindly pay. That will help. But not the other way around. Where you circumvent everything.
You try and find a shortcut.
I think that is a problem.
I agree. I'm looking at the public service as a whole. There's a lot that goes on in there. When I'm thinking through the motivations, there's one, securing at entry level. There's also now climbing through the career ladder. Was that another thing? Because what's the criteria? Are there clearly set guidelines by the public service, in the public service, that to move from this job group to this job group, I need qualification X, Y. Okay, fine. Is that the only thing? Fine. Then in that case, I will either go back to school and get the certification, or I'll find a way around it. So let me start with, what's the prevalence of now the fake certificates for people who are trying to climb up the ladder in the public service?
It is equally a problem. Because career progression guidelines are there, very specific, that for you to attain this grade, you must have this minimum qualification. If you came in as an undergraduate, for you to climb to a certain level, the requirement then you must have a postgraduate qualifications. And you find people who are not able to do that, and they find their ways and fake documentation. It is there. But again, it is because of the issues that we have been discussing. The competition is so much. But again, there is one problem that we need to address, and the current commission is trying to address. In the public service, and I'm privileged, I've worked both in the private sector and in the public service.
Right.
The emphasis in public service is the number of years you've worked in a position, academic qualification. While in the private sector, it is your performance.
Competence.
Your performance will drive you.
Right.
Unfortunately, in the public service, it is not very well structured that performance management is deeply entrenched, so that the basis for your promotion is squarely based on your productivity.
It's permanent,
and that is what we want as this commission to institutionalize.
Right.
Because what you find in government at the top level, the executive, the president, the CSS, the PSS, going down, they have very clear deliverables that they want to deliver. But as you get down, that starts disappearing. That it is not clear what you are supposed to be delivering on every year. So that is the direction we need to move, so that we are measuring people, and people can progress based on productivity and not necessarily because of certificates.
That's a good one, because you need to have a productive public service. Remember in Homa Bay, when you had the conversation with Governor Wilbur Tichilo on the issue of productivity and public service, and later we had a conversation where Commissioner Meja was also there. Let's come back into this conversation at 28 minutes after 8. It's about certificates, academic certificates in our public service. And we are focusing on the public service because we have a commissioner of the Public Service Commission this morning, Francis Meja. We are discussing that back in a moment after this break.
100.
Indeed. We have very many questions and comments on our live stream. Before we get to them, let's step back a little bit and hear from the chair of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, Bishop Dr. David Oginde, when he was raising this concern about, the prevalence of fake certificates in our public service, which also just is a mirror of our private sector as well, and see what has been done and what ought to be done. And then we'll discuss that with Commissioner Meja. Let's listen to Dr. Oginde.
We are gaining great traction right now is the area of fake certificates. Many people we are discovering have gotten public jobs, and I know it happens also in the private sector, using fake certificates. So we have been investigating many of these, and as you may have heard, several of them have been taken to court, and we have recovered the monies that they were paid during the time that they served under those certificates. So some people are paid up to 100 million because they used a fake certificate to get a very high level job, and they have been there for a few years. So we recover all that money, and of course they are also laid aside. So basically to tell people that corruption does not pay.
Yeah, so that, from what Dr. Oginde is saying, will respond to some of the questions that we have on social media. For example, he says the EACC, as of mid this year, they had resulted in the recovery of 14.3 million shillings, realized through court awards, out-of-court settlements, alternative dispute resolution, and plea bargaining. The DCI has taken up more than 500 cases. They have taken about 50 cases to court, another 107 cases out of the ODPP pending advice, 200 cases under active investigations, 450 public officers were dismissed in the 2023-2024 financial year over fake academic certificates, and so on and so forth. The commissioner is here. He's going to tell us what else they're doing now and how do we fix it going forward. You can sample some of the comments.
Right. Quick question. This is actually a comment from Staki Mapepe, Paul Minor. He says the reason why some fake certificates are there is because the systems are so corrupt, and more often than not, there is no authentication. Did the 2.5% face any prosecution? Did you recover what they had earned? I think amepata jibu lake right there from the EACC. And then a quick one, the current PSC criteria are so restrictive that they would have denied the nation the public service of iconic leaders like Tom Mboya and Daniel Arap Moi because they lacked university degrees. That's Bakari Sagna. Michael Matata says, would you please let Commissioner Meja highlight the issue of recognition of prior learning? Does it come to solve the current mess of fake certificates by recognizing prior skill acquisition? Okay. The fastest way to curb fake academic papers. That's also a question from Andile Charlie. Let's begin with recognition of prior learning. Then this comment about the current PSC criteria being so restrictive that they would have denied us the public service of Daniel Moi, okay, and Tom Boy. So what's that one's in our recognition of prior learning? We had touched a little bit on it, but yeah.
Yeah, we actually don't have a structured way of doing that. But qualification authority is doing something, especially in areas like artisans and issues like that, where experience counts. But formally, in the formal public service, we still not have a policy that can guide that process. I think that is something that we need to think of, so that we try and ease this issue of too much emphasis on academic certificates. On the issue of President Moi and the late President Moi and late Tom Boy, I think these were politicians. I think maybe they were not necessarily entirely public servants.
Hey, the president is a public servant.
Well, but the qualification for us as public service, I think that's another area. And this thing is affecting even politicians. You see, whenever there's an election, minimum qualifications have been challenged a number of times. But I think that, to me, that's not my space. I will leave it to them to discuss that. For us, let's discuss public service.
But he's talking about the restrictiveness of the criteria within the public service. So that is something you can speak to. This, you've said, for example, there's no solid criteria on recognition of public service in recognition of prior learning in the public service. So then what is being done to make it less restrictive so that maybe people don't feel the need to fake these academic qualifications? Not to defend the faking of the qualifications.
Yes, I think we are a service that looks into the future. And so many things, the environment is changing. Many things are changing. And we must also be adaptive to the changes that are coming. If it is like prior learning qualifications, I think those are some of the things that we need to introduce. If it is issue like flexi hours, it's something that we must not work from 8 to 5. We can be flexible. And many things are coming, especially with this generation, the Gen Zs. Their working hours and patterns are different. And they can be very productive and work not necessarily with the traditional hours of 8 to 5.
It's about output.
It is about output. So those are some of the things we are looking and say, we must prepare the service for the future that is fit for the coming years to come. And those are some of the things that we need to adapt to.
How is that being done? And what's the plan? What's the timeline for like adopting some of these things? I'll say, like, is there any actual like wheel in motion as far as recognition of prior learning, one, and two, some of the changes to work culture that you've mentioned? Because you're right, it's about productivity, but then, you know, we on this show we hear a lot of we are, we will, we shall, we are doing. So timelines.
We have a strategic plan. When we came to office early this year, the first thing that we have embarked on is to develop a strategic plan that will guide us over the term of our stay in office for the next. So we are almost finalizing, and those are some of the inputs that we are receiving, and they'll go and they will inform our strategic plan going to the future, so that we become a bit more flexible. And we have a very, very good combination of commissioners this time around. People who have very experiences in private sector and public sector. So we should be able to deliver on this, I promise.
When is the strategic plan out?
It's not actually, we have zero draft. It's just going through public participation. Then before the end of this year, we shall adapt it so that we have 5 years to implement it.
People talk about the public service in different ways. People talk about joining the public service because it allows you time to do other things. Others say joining the public service because, one, it's permanent and pensionable. So there's some sort of job security that then helps you to plan your life ahead. Others will talk about the public service because it allows you, within the public service, depending on where you are working, you actually get exposed to all these opportunities to develop your career. So some go into public service knowing that there's an opportunity to actually get into training, more training, have time to go back to school, to take time in school, and so on and so forth. Are there people who you've heard saying they want to join the public service to provide service?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, yes. At a high
At a
level.
higher
Let me
level.
say this, yes, at a high level.
So they're going in there because they want to provide service.
Yes. Usually that's when you're speaking to a CEO, a chair of a board, a nana, things like that. Yes. The person I would interact with when I enter a government clinic or a government office or just Kiabado.
Well, and I think
These are the people that you have been dealing with since you joined the commission.
And it is true. What your observations are right. You find that at the very high levels, the number of even hours that are put in are enormous. And people, you can see the commitment of people. But as you go down, things start going wrong. But I think it is the responsibility of the supervisor. And the human capital is the biggest resource any organization can have. So for you to be successful even as a CEO of a government entity, you cannot succeed working alone. You must involve everyone in an organization. So how do we supervise those who are below us? That is a big question. How come that some people report and leave their coats on their chairs and disappear? What is the supervisor doing?
Actually, when you mentioned flexi hours, I was about to say public servants already have flexi hours. You're just maybe formalizing it, but go on.
So what we need to do is a system that works. Everybody must get engaged. And when you have targets, that these are your deliverables, and you are held to account. And the basis for promotion or demotion on sanctions must be there. But the traditional public service is you are permanent and pensionable, nothing happens, whatever you choose to do, nobody cares. That we must change.
Okay. What's the incentive? How do you incentivize? You catch more bees with honey than vinegar. So the private sector will, of course, it has, you have your own performance improvement plans if you're not doing a good job. You're on a contract that is based on your performance. You're being, what is it called? Not audited, word.
Assessed.
Yes, you're being assessed and so on. But also, there's the incentive side, which is more money, bonuses, career advancement, promotions, learning opportunities, things like that.
You see, unfortunately for government, unlike the private sector, and as I mentioned, I have had an experience in both. In private sector, if you have achieved your targets, there is a bonus. There is an amount, like sometimes you are paid a 13th month salary for a good work done. Those who are not performing well can be managed and coached and maybe mentored. And if you are not able then to change, then you are managed out of the institution. Unlike government, where it is permanent and pensionable. Those are the things that ought to start changing in government. But monetary rewards are not necessarily what motivates people. You can give them promotion, you can give them letter of recognitions, you can actually highlight them.
Let me just be honest. No one is going to work for a title. Many people will take more money with a smaller title in a jiff. Money is why people go to work. That's what we
really.
There
are motivations beyond monetary terms.
Yes, of course. But if we're being honest, the primary motivation that people will go to work is money.
I don't dispute. It contributes monetary, contribute a large percentage. But there are other small things
like that's simple recognition,
like
certificate,
recognition, promotion will lead to money. Those are some of the things that can be used. Opportunities for training, and government is very good in training. Those are some of the things we need to award to those who are doing well, so that it motivates everyone to put in their best.
In the public service, though, I've never worked in public service. You can confirm or deny this. Your boss is just your boss on paper, but your boss cannot fire you, cannot suspend you, cannot do.
I don't really
your
think
supervisor.
So. They have an input. Okay. The only thing is that in governments, in government, there are norms that are followed. And this is to guard because of the sheer numbers. It's to guard that there is fairness. So they have very elaborate, if it is display, they are very elaborate processes. That the first person to complain obviously will be your boss. Then it is documented, you are given an opportunity to explain yourself, then it moves to the next level. He may not be the person signing your letter of signing, of sacking, but his input is there.
And when the boss is now becoming your greatest predicament, Oyu ananionea Oyu.
This is what I'm saying. If it is clear that for me and my boss, the relationship should be what is it that I'm supposed to deliver.
Yes.
And it should be measurable so that we remove personal issues on it.
Yes.
I was supposed to deliver X. If I deliver X and there's evidence that I deliver X, whether your boss like you or not, there is evidence that you've delivered. So what we need to do is to have a clear mechanism of measurement of every person in the public service. What is it that they are going to deliver?
Sounds to me, Commissioner, that you need more than just a strategic document, a strategy paper, because a strategy paper is like giving you the idea of what you want to do, but you need something more, something like a law, like a policy that is enforceable, that lives beyond these 5 years, that reshapes our public service. And if I remember, there were attempts work had started in the Kibaki era of just public sector reform and looking at how to do all those things, incentivize and punish and promote and change the culture of the public service. That needs more than just a 5-year strategy.
A strategy is a guide,
right?
What do you want? What are your priorities and how do you achieve them over a period of time, isn't it? And I agree, there are so many, and we can't, as Public Service Commission, we cannot be able to work in isolation. We are an independent commission, yes, but we work very closely with the executive because the civil servants or the public servants are there to execute an agenda of an administration.
Yeah.
So working with the executive becomes very, very important and central so that we are aligned that this is what we want to achieve and everybody must be aligned towards that direction. So it is very important.
Do you agree with me that politicization of a public service is one of the biggest disservice that we've done to ourselves? And by politicization, this is what I mean. That the administration of the day will, in many ways, appoint the people who shape the public service. And then the people who are appointed, based on their personal relations with those who have political power, will behave and act with that in mind. That there's a lot of then people are employed based on who they know, and that's politics. You have how many opportunities again?
300,000.
How many people applied?
No, it was 1,000 opportunities.
1,095.
Yeah.
And how many qualified and applied?
That 304,000.
Bas. So we find that now there's, in some level, in some categories and cadres, political influence in who gets these jobs. So would you say that politicization of our public service is our greatest Achilles heel?
Public service is supposed to be apolitical and should be able to go beyond an administration.
Very true.
So as much as possible, and that is one of the functions of Public Service Commission, is to insulate public servants from victimization, especially from the political class. Why is it important? Because they are the ones who, even any administration that comes, they find an already existing public service. At the national government, that is a bit different. There is a bit more of professionalism and respect for the separation of the two. But once you go to the counties, that is where we are having a serious problem. That a governor comes in, he doesn't want to work with anybody, and they want to bring an entire team
of their people.
So what happens? You end up having a bloated workforce. If you look at the revenue, the amount of money that is spent to as wage bill, almost 70%. You have seen countings where 70% of the wage bill is going to salaries. And this is happening because you are not ready to work with the people you found. We encourage people, work with the people you find. But should you find them that you are lacking in one way or another, you either train them, focus them, but let us not use public servants to do politics. And yet there must be a separation.
You know, in law, we actually try to create this separation. So at the national level, we have the Public Service Commission. You know, that should be an independent commission that just looks at the public service and makes sure that this machine is moving as it should be moving.
It's well-oiled.
It serves the government of the day. Okay?
Whoever that is.
Yes, in fact, no, it does not serve the government. It serves the people.
Okay.
Okay? In following the directives and the need of the government of the day. At the county level, we have the county public service boards, which should be the public service commissions at county level, which also should be independent. And in fact, the tenures are longer than the term of a governor.
Right.
But we are still seeing infiltration in those both two levels. What's our solution? How do we fix this?
The solution is to embrace professionalism, agree that I'm taking this offer, and actually it's a privilege. Out of the 1,095 that we will select, we would have left 1,000. So in the first place, it's a privilege. So when you are serving, know that there are many more people who are much more maybe deserving than you, but you have the privilege to serve. Serve with dignity and honor. And they have what we call values and principles of public service.
Yeah.
Neutrality, political neutrality is one of them. You should not engage in politics, so that those who will be coming, maybe if there's a change in administration, they can have faith that these people are not visible doing campaigns out there.
You are not campaigning
You are
for
not for
my
campaigning,
enemies.
isn't it?
Yes.
So once we observe that boundaries, then we start building confidence that even whoever will be coming can have trust with those who are delivering on their behalf.
I hear you. I see one of your mitigation measures as being double-edged now that we've talked about, yes, the public service and how to protect it. You've talked about, you know what, this idea of permanent and pensionable is doing us a disservice. But now I'm thinking as well, if I am on a contract or, you know, yes, I am much more at the mercy of the person in power than a permanent and pensionable employee. So now as you seek to mitigate some of the issues in the public service, you know, is that really a good idea? I'm thinking now through both sides of it. Yes, having contracts based on performance, that of course would probably improve performance, but it also opens people up to now being targeted by whoever is in power at the time. Yeah, you find me, I'm doing a great job, but you need to put your person in power. What happens to my contract? Next year, it's terminated.
Well, that's the risk. And at some levels, even in public service, especially at senior management, CEOs and their own contract, so that there is a change of guard, so that you don't stick in one place forever, because it's a leadership position. When things go wrong, we don't want it to be wrong forever. Somebody else needs to come and see what you are doing before, and maybe do intervention early enough. But for those who are junior, because they are subject to the direction of the leader, to secure their permanency is important. But permanent and pensionable does not mean even if you are to do wrong, nothing can happen. No. Yeah. If you are not able to perform your work for whatever reason, and you are taken through the disciplinary process, there are ways of termination for those who are not doing right. So this sometimes people
the threshold is quite high.
The threshold is high, and for obvious reasons, as you mentioned, for fairness, and to insulate the service so that they are not there is not too much interference. And I think it is for a good reason.
Okay.
Some two questions here as we wind up. Someone is asking, why is it that the PSC portal, after applying for a job and you're not successful, you have provided a remarks column which you never indicate the reasons for being unsuccessful? Why have it there if you're not going to fill it up? And then Dismas is asking, do you still observe the timeline of recruitment? Why would you be cancelling an advert once you've advertised?
Okay.
And then the third one, Simba, is the criteria you use to check if the certificates are valid. Because if someone got the job, that means that your institutions are the ones which are incompetent to prevent backdoors. You can start with that one, because you already mentioned it. Just to repeat.
Let me take the last one. Why is it that you invalidate the certificate? There's been a problem in the past that you recruit people, they report to work, then you start validation of their certificates. It's wrong. It's like performing a post-mortem. It is after the event. The institutions also, if you look at the Kenya National Examination Council and many others, for a long time they have not been having digitized platforms. So verification becomes a challenge. But I think we are over that now. What is it that we are doing? For the recruitment that I mentioned earlier on, what we are doing a commission is we have actually signed an agreement with Kenya National Examination Council to begin. Before even your appointment that you've been appointed, we will verify your certificates. And how are we doing it? We want to do it in a more sustainable way and an efficient way. We want to interface our systems so that there is no manual intervention in the verification of certificates. The database is there. Kenya National Examination Council has given us an access to the database so that we just pick information as it is.
Right.
Okay.
So on these ones, and this is happening for the first time.
You just say, Mariam CV says grade B+, okay, let me search the NEC database.
Is it what we do? You have an index number. We just input your index numbers and it pulls out the results and we compare with what you declared. So that way, we are able to deal with that problem with finality.
All right.
Once we are successful, and we actually started a pilot, currently we are running a pilot for the 1,095 cases. Once that is successful, we move to the university.
Yeah.
We request all the universities, any year graduation, the repository will be commissioned for university education.
Right.
So once you create that database and link it, we will deal with this problem once and for all, so that we don't move in circles the way it is.
We're currently doing.
So I think that is a more efficient way of doing it, and this is a commission to deliver that.
Okay.
I promise.
Okay.
We'll invite you to come back.
Is this in tandem with the Kenya National Qualifications Authority?
Well, I don't know what they are doing, but I know we have had a memorandum of understanding with Kenya National Examination Council to interface our systems, because previously what used to happen, you send your documents physically to Kenya National Examination Council. Somebody goes through their documents and verify. The process is laborious, it's very expensive, it's time consuming. But if we interface the system, at a click of a button, you get the results.
Yeah, I think there's some coordination needed, because if I'm not wrong, the Kenya National Qualifications Authority is trying to do something similar, a repository for all qualifications. But thank you so much. Francis Meja has been with us for the last hour discussing fake certificates in the public service. And of course, we've talked about the why, the mitigations, the fixes, and we'd like to hear a lot more from you on the comments as we continue the conversation. In the next hour, miss me with that. This idea that Kenyans are safe at home and abroad, miss me with that.